Racist gang attacks cancer-stricken woman. Unaware her husband is a lethal ex-Marine. I'll never forget the day everything changed for James and Lisa Carter. It started out like any other morning in their small town, a place they had moved to for peace and quiet. Lisa was fighting stage 3 breast cancer, and James had left his military career behind to take care of her. He was a Marine, once a soldier, always a soldier. But these days, his mission was simple: protect and love his wife. Lisa, despite her illness, was a kind and gentle soul. She loved gardening, even when the treatments made her weak. That afternoon, she decided to take a walk to the corner store to pick up a few things. James usually went with her, but she insisted he rest. "I can handle it, love," she said with a soft smile. He kissed her forehead and watched her walk down the street. What happened next would shake their world. As Lisa walked home, a group of young men, 5 of them, approached her. They were loud, aggressive, and full of hate. The leader, a tall man with a shaved head, smirked as he blocked her path. "Hey lady, what are you doing in our neighborhood? You don't belong here." Lisa tried to stay calm. "I live just a few blocks away," she said, trying to step past them, but they wouldn't let her go. One of them yanked off her headscarf, revealing her bald head. They laughed cruelly. "What's wrong with you? You look sick or something," another sneered. Lisa's hands trembled as she reached for her scarf. "Please," she whispered. "I just want to go home." The leader's smirk widened. "Maybe we don't want you here at all. Maybe it's time you learned your place." What they didn't know was that Lisa's place was beside a man who had fought wars, a man who had seen darkness and didn't fear it, a man who, at that very moment, was coming to find his wife. James had a bad feeling, call it a Marine's instinct. When Lisa didn't return as quickly as she should have, he threw on his jacket and headed out. He didn't need weapons, his hands were enough. When he saw the gang surrounding Lisa, his blood turned to ice. "Hey!" His voice was low, dangerous, controlled. The gang turned, laughing at the sight of a middle-aged man walking toward them. "You lost, old man?" one of them taunted. James didn't answer. He only saw Lisa, clutching her scarf, tears in her eyes. That was all he needed. The first punch was a blur. The leader went down before he even realized what happened. The second man barely had time to react before James twisted his arm behind his back and sent him crashing to the pavement. The others tried to attack, but James moved with precision, training, and fury. Within seconds, all 5 were groaning on the ground, bruised and broken. James knelt beside Lisa, gently wrapping his arms around her. "Are you okay, baby?" She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I was so scared." He kissed her forehead. "You never have to be scared, not while I'm here." The gang scrambled to their feet, humiliated and defeated. James stared them down. "If I ever see you near my wife again," he said quietly, "you won't get back up." They ran. Cowards always do. James held Lisa all the way home, whispering words of love, reminding her that she was never alone. And from that day on, no one in that town ever dared to look at Lisa Carter the wrong way again. The news spread fast. The local sheriff came by later that evening, already having heard the story. He shook James's hand and said, "We don't condone violence, but I'd say they had it coming." No charges were filed. No reports were made. The sheriff himself had seen James serve and knew the kind of man he was. Lisa, still shaken but grateful, held James tighter that night. "I don't deserve you," she whispered. James chuckled softly. "No, baby, I don't deserve you." Lisa's battle with cancer continued, but she never walked alone again. James was always by her side, and the town knew better than to mess with the Carters. Because love, when tested, proves its strength. And no amount of hate could ever break what they had. In the following weeks, neighbors began showing up at their doorstep with home-cooked meals, flowers, and offers to help. The townspeople, realizing the injustice Lisa had faced, rallied around the couple. The gang was nowhere to be seen, and no one missed them. One afternoon, Lisa sat on the porch, wrapped in a warm blanket as James tended to her garden. She watched him with admiration, knowing he had given up so much for her. "James," she called softly. He looked up, wiping the dirt from his hands. "Yeah, baby? I love you, more than anything." He smiled, walking over to kiss her hand. "And I love you, Lisa, forever." In that moment, Lisa knew that no matter what battles lay ahead, she would never have to fight them alone. She had her warrior, her protector, and most importantly, her husband by her side. And together, they would face whatever came their way, hand in hand. Years passed, and Lisa's health improved. With every struggle, every hardship, they grew stronger. And when they looked back on that day, they didn't see fear. They saw love, unbreakable, unwavering, and more powerful than hate could ever be.